I'm Joveta and welcome to my kitchen. Today is a video about the way I cook greens. I know different people have different versions and different varieties of greens. Today I'm cooking with kale and collards. This is already pre-cut and everything, so I know this looks like a lot, but when it gets cooked down, it's not that much. And then on the other hand too, usually if the right people are around when I cook this, it's not enough. So, okay, with that being said, let me tell you what I have here. I have a bag of collard greens and a half a bag of kale. The rest of the kale that you don't use, you can use it with sandwiches or you can use it with doing juicing. And so nothing won't go to waste. But this way we're gonna cook the greens the way I cook them. So with the seasonings, there's all kinds of seasonings. So basically, people like to cook with salt and pepper. I'm not just a salt and pepper person. I need some seasoning, and that's why I do. This is another brand, but I do mostly Tastefully Simple, and I also cook with Pampered Chef products too as well. And but this has got, you can look in here and tell the different seasonings that's in here: salt, pepper, basil, rosemary. So you want to cook with something that's got a lot of seasoning because you want your greens to be seasoned well. And this is also onions and garlic, different things in there. And I like spicy, so you can leave this out, but I like stuff with a little bit of zip and a little hot pepper, whatever, you know, some zippy stuff. I like happy food, so this makes me happy. And so you have to do the seasonings that you want that make you happy. And I love spicy, ooh la la food. Also, this is salt, so I don't cook that much with salt. I am a lot of sodium, and then also a lot of people that I know, they're watching their sodium, which that's another video about reading labels. And also, I don't cook with vegetable oil usually, special occasion, but I use olive oil. This is avocado oil. So I use oils like this in my cooking, sauteing, and coconut, depending on what I'm cooking, because some oils will burn faster than others. But this is avocado oil, and this is a good oil for sauteing and also for frying some things. And so with this, I have onions. I love onions, and also you can also use peppers, different things. I'm not an okra person, and sometimes people put okra in their greens. Not for me, not today. And then you need a little bit of sugar, just a little bit, but I have a tablespoon here for just in case, you know, because I taste my food, so I know if my seasoning is right in there. And also, I do use a little bit of real butter, not margarine, but real butter. So, and this is the unsalted real butter. So you just kind of have to make this deal your own, make this your own meal. So with that being said, we're gonna go over here to the stove, and I'm gonna show you how I make mixed greens. And you can do cabbage this way too, but this is mixed greens. And oh, also what I'm gonna add in here too is a little bit of spinach. So let's go over to the stove and I'll show you how I fix these greens. What I do is I kind of coat the pan with some oil. I don't add the butter in right now because it'll scorch. So I put maybe about 3 or 4 tablespoons of oil in, and I get the grease hot. Oil. I don't know why I'm saying grease, but anyway, this is avocado oil. So I get the oil hot, and then I will start putting the greens in here so that I could use a bigger pot, but I'll do this a little bit at a time, and then you can see how I do it. Also, before you put these greens in, let them drain so that they'll be sort of dry, because if you put it in with a lot of water, then you're gonna get a lot of popping and you could get popped. And depending on how big your family is, you might not have to use this many greens, but usually we eat a lot of greens when we have greens. And already this is cooked down some, so you just put it in the pot with the oil, because on the bottom of this there's still a lot of water, so now you won't get popped on. And your greens are cooked down, so I'm going to put the last of these in here, and then you just stir from the bottom as best you can. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is just put the top on there for a few minutes, and it's going to cook. It's going to cook down. Yep, and you do have to check and make sure you don't have any greens that fell out the pot or around, and make sure you don't cause a fire. And see how these greens have cooked down already, and they're going to cook down a lot more too. But you keep stirring it from the bottom so that you make sure nothing's burning. Kind of have it like medium high heat when it starts cooking really fast, so you can make sure you're not burning anything. And so it's steaming and it's cooking and it's shrinking. Always open the steam away from you so you don't get burned. At this point, I'm not a measurer, but people can tell it's easier to add stuff than it is to take away. So you want to start off, moderate. I like seasoning in my food, so you might add some in, and that's why you need to taste your food so you can see if it's seasoned enough. So I'm adding in my seasoning. I'm going to add in my onions as well. I'm going to stir in my onions. I'm putting the pot on there. I'm going to let it simmer for a little bit, and we'll maybe turn it on medium, and it's going to cook for a little while. I turned it down a little bit so that that they can cook. And I turned it down so that it can simmer, and it's simmering in its own. It doesn't need a lot of water or anything. Right now it's not where you have to go and fish these greens out. You can see the greens. You will be able to not have to go in this pot after these greens are done. You won't have to go with a big soup spoon or something to go into these greens. And one thing that I would like to say at this point, what I did was I pressure cooked some turkey wings or turkey legs. You can have that meat done already, and you can, at this point, you can add that in. Also, that's the other thing that I'll probably put in here too, is some chicken broth to put in there, not the broth, the mix to put in here as well. Because if you're a vegetarian, you want the meat flavor, then you put the soup mix in. If you want to have meat in here, like your turkey, I don't eat pork. If you want to add ham hocks or some kind of beef, a piece of beef or neck bones or whatever that you want to put, that you put usually in there, you can put that in here at this time and let this simmer. And also what I'm going to do right now is just put some of my, just a little bit of sugar in here, not much. And then after a while I'm going to check my seasoning to see how we're doing. So I'm going to let this cook for a while. Okay, this is still simmering, and what I do is, this is some chicken-based soup. You can add any kind of You can add any kind of like bouillon, or even you can add in the soup starter, whatever soup starter you want to give it that meaty taste if you're a vegetarian, or you can add in the real stuff, the turkey, and the juices from there. But what I do is I start off with a couple of teaspoons to give it that taste. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to add in my spinach. I'm cheating a little bit. This isn't fresh spinach, this is frozen. And so I'm going to add that in there with my mixed greens as well. I'm also going to put me my little pizzazz here. This is mixed spice with paprika, chili, and garlic. So I'm not gonna add a lot to it because I don't know who's gonna be eating it. So I wouldn't want like a kid or somebody to burn their tongue. So I just add a little bit, maybe that much, and for now to see how strong it is. Because like I said, you need to taste your food. And so I'm gonna stir all this in. I'm going to stir this up and bring it back up to a good boil so we can get the spinach cooking. We've had our greens simmering for about 35-40 minutes already, and they appear to, you can look in here and see that there's not a whole lot of juice in here, but they are nice and fluffy, and this way you don't have to worry about having a lot of liquid. See there? And these greens are nice and cooked, and you don't have to worry about them being too juicy, like if you put something else and all your food gets wet. So I like to cook my greens this way, and I added a little bit of butter to it. And I didn't have to add any water to this at all. I thought maybe it would, sometimes if you don't have enough fluid in here that it'll cook out. And these are nice and fluffy. And so what I'm going to do is, I love greens. These are mixed greens. And like I said, you can add your meat to this. This is just basic. All of this is just basic. You're adding your seasoning, and then depending on if you're vegetarian, you can do it this way. If you're not vegetarian, you can add in your different meats and whatever you like to have to make this your own. So I'm going to taste some of these, and it's not a lot of juice in there, so if I had some, the only thing I'm missing right now is some cornbread. So I'm going to have to take care of that. Yes, nice and tender and seasoning. And this is one of those meals that tomorrow is going to taste even better. So, with that being said, these are basic greens, and they're cooked well, seasoned well, and they taste good. So, like and share my video, subscribe, and don't forget to come to Joveta's Kitchen. Thanks for coming.